good morning, afternoon, or evening, and welcome to the Bloody Disgusting Network. The following show is just horrifying. Beware.
We're gonna carry on and plan the sequel, because let's face it, baby, these days, you gotta have a sequel.
And welcome back to Microqueers. It's your bi-weekly queer horror short roundup, and I'm Joe.
And I'm Trace, and we're delving into the world of creepy stuffed animals, everybody.
Yeah, time to get your furry on, right?
Fuzzy. It's a fuzzy. We're talking first date
Sorry.
Written and directed by Matthew S. Marin, everybody. And this is a short one. We finally got a short one in for once.
A short.
A short. It lives up to its name.
Shorts? Yeah.
No, stop that.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, it's called First Date Fuzzy, and it's fairly simple, and I don't mean that in a negative way. It's just, there's not much to it.
Yeah, it's one of those shorts where they really have one premise, one location. It's very simple and straightforward, but it also means that we can go a little bit deeper into it. So, folks, if you have not seen First Date Fuzzy, here is your very brief logline. Darcy brings Owen back to her apartment to hook up, but he can't get over the presence of a large stuffed elephant sitting against the wall, watching them.
I will say, so I don't know if Matthew's done other films, other shorts besides this. This definitely feels like he is cutting his teeth on some technological aspects of film, because I think the sound design and the camera work in this film is very, very well, especially when it comes to unnerving you.
Right, so this is not his first short. I think he and this creative team have another short called Nasty under their belt, and the sound we can credit to Thomas Knox. So, yeah, I agree. The sound was what really caught my ear the first time.
So, again, basically what happens is he can't get over this damn stuffed elephant, and he leaves, and then it turns out the elephant is evil, and presumably kills Darcy, and then leaves a stuffed elephant fetus thing inside Owen's car.
And that's one of the reasons why I like this, because it's so simple. It's still very open-ended. So I felt like you could read this in one of two ways. You could read it as this elephant kills Darcy and then quickly hustles and gets into Owen's car, or that it is replicating because Owen was in the house. It has kind of spawned and attached, almost like a Grudge-like figure where you become infected and now you have your own fuzzy that you will either have to feed or be murdered by.
Yeah, I kind of viewed it like that. I don't know what the elephant was going to do to him, because my favorite shot of the film is when we're just in its face.
Extreme close-up, yeah.
You know something's up with this stuffed elephant, and I kept waiting for it to open up and bite his head off.
Okay.
And granted, that might be out of the budget of what this short requires.
I think so, yeah.
But that's the kind of suspense thing, right? Where it's okay, well, we think something's going to happen and it's not, and they keep teasing it and teasing it. I mean, this is a barely over 4 minutes long, and it gets so much mileage out of Owen just sticking his head in this stuffed animal's face.
Yes, absolutely. And if we do want to think about this as something that propagates, now Owen has his own stuffed elephant, one of the things that's fun to speculate about is that the one that he sees in his car is quite a bit smaller, which leads you to believe that Darcy has been feeding men to her elephant, and that's why it has maybe gotten bigger.
I mean, if we really want to go for a read, we could also view it as an allegory for STDs, because it's just he's just been infected, and it's in the small stages of infection, or whatever the fuck you want, or whatever that terminology is.
Right.
And it's going to grow and grow and grow until it overtakes him, and then, well, I was going to say tells him what to do, but obviously STDs don't do that.
They do dictate some of your reactions, hey, go to the doctor and get your penis swabbed.
Or tell everyone that you have this before you have sex with them.
Right, yes. Don't bring them back to your house and initiate sex without telling them about the elephant in the room.
Which in Genuine laugh, Joe. Genuine laugh for me.
It's the principle of the short.
No, I totally
You didn't
get it.
think about it, yeah.
I did not think about it. No, I did not go that deep. Meanwhile, I'm over here with my fucking STI metaphor.
Right. Keep going down that
No,
path.
I will say, so I mean, like, honestly, like, not much to this, but I really like, from a technical standpoint, what we're seeing. If I had a critique, I do think that the writing, there's minimal dialogue in this, but the writing, which is also done by Mirren, is kind of like, ugh. And the only example I have of it, and I was kind of like, oh, really? It's basically when he looks at the elephant, and he goes, I'm sorry, I can't get over this. And then we cut, and he turns around and like looks at her, and then he goes, I'm sorry, I just can't let this go. And it was like 2 repeat lines in quick succession,
Right.
Not delivered very well. And so that was the only kind of like, I was like, okay, like just from like a script standpoint and maybe even an acting standpoint for a little bit, it was kind of like, for me. But because on the technical side, it was working so well, it didn't really bother me as much.
Right. Yeah. This is one of those cases where I would have liked just a couple more minutes, because Darcy looks terrified throughout this entire encounter. Like, she's transfixed by this elephant, because in hindsight, we realize that she's waiting for something to happen. Like, presumably
Right.
she knows what has happened to other people, if you follow my read. But
Right.
it means that we don't get a lot of interaction between the two of them. So it's really just Owen talking to this elephant and talking aloud about his feelings. I would have loved for a couple more minutes of him trying to engage her, or her trying to explain, or just something like that. And I think it's probably, again, just a minimal budget, minimal time.
Yeah. I mean, again, like, it's so interesting because, we're watching this. It's been a couple days since that trailer for the new Nicolas Cage movie, Willy's or Wally's Wonderland or whatever the fuck.
Right. Mm-hmm.
We had that Banana Splits movie that came out last year, which was kind of similar. And then, of course, there's that maybe happening Five Nights at Freddy's adaptation happening. And so I kind of love that we're getting this, like, stuffed animal / animatronic creature horror coming out.
Yeah. Well, I think because there's something that's still frightening about it, right? I mean, I laughed about the elephant in the room. And one of the things that I was trying to think of was, because on the initial watch, I was a little underwhelmed by the choice of stuffed animal. Like, I would have liked something a little bit creepy or weird, because I didn't understand why Owen was so obsessed with it.
Okay, no, I was gonna say, I like that it's a cute stuffed animal and not something creepy, but
Right.
yes, no, that reasoning of like, yeah, why can't he let this go?
In some ways, I do think it still works in that regard, because it's so innocuous. You're just like, what is this guy's fucking problem? It's just a stuffed animal. Like, do you want to get laid or not? So I went back and forth on wishing it was a bit more of a fantastical stuffed toy creature design, and thinking that's part of what makes the short fun, is because it's just so plain. This dude just needs to let it go.
Exactly. So, okay, then moving forward, would you watch a feature-length version of this?
I think yes, if only because the examples that you described have a lot of potential. Like, you obviously need a ton more characters. You need somebody with a big backstory. There was a Canadian version of this idea that I can't recall. It came out last year or the year before, and it was like a guy with a traumatic backstory with this doll that he left in his parents' house, and then it started to murder people. So I think you need something like that, right? You need a flawed central protagonist to build this out.
I mean, what we're looking at here is just a premise. Like, there's... And I think that when we cover shorts like this, that's always when it's easier to say, yeah, I watch a feature-length version of this, because it's literally just, with this log line, would you watch a movie about this? As opposed to, like, a short that maybe kind of does, like, go down as many roads as you think it can, because maybe it's 20 minutes long.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm kind of in your same boat. Tone's going to be a factor here. Like, this short goes for, like, pure horror as opposed to horror comedy, I think.
Yeah.
Granted, usually when you see stuff like this, it is more leaning towards, like, horror comedy.
Very
I actually
true.
would kind of like to see it stay, like,
just
straight up
horror?
Yeah.
Okay.
That would be a different and unexpected way to take this premise for me.
Right. Okay. I can see that. Yeah, because really, I mean, this short has not shot its... Oh, God, I was about to say shot its load.
Shot its load.
Yeah, it's really the tip of the iceberg in terms of what you could do with this premise. It could go anywhere. So I like that idea that really the doors are open. You could do whatever you want.
Right.
But I think there's potential here. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Well, listeners, let us know what you thought of First Date Fuzzy, and also whether you would want to see it as a feature film. But until next week, but until 2 weeks from now, for our next micro quiz, we can cross out First Date Fuzzy.
Yes, and cross out micro-queers.
It was late in the afternoon when the professor and I took our way towards the east, whence I knew Jonathan was coming.
Jonathan Harker has asked me to note this, as he says he is hardly equal to the task, and he wants an exact record kept.
Dear Madam Mina, I have read your husband's so wonderful diary. Strange and terrible as it is true. I will pledge my life on it.
God preserve my sanity, for to this I am reduced. Safety and the assurance of safety are things of the past.
I am in hopes that I shall see more of you at Castle Dracula.
Listen to Regarding Dracula wherever you listen to podcasts, or find us online at bloody.fm.